just making a little video to walk you through the basics of Illustrator. I know some of you have used it and some are completely new to it, so this will just give you a little tour of all of the basics and some fancy little tricks that you can use. Obviously, grab me or Simon once you get the hang of this and you're wanting to explore more, and we'll show you some more effects, but this is just the basics to get you started. So when you open Illustrator, it's going to look like this, like a big blank screen. We want to make a new document. So we're going to go to File and New, and this box is going to pop up. So sometimes this will also be blank. Sometimes it's going to look like this. What we always want to do is we work in the digital printing world. We're going to click on Print. Over here, you can name it what you want. Is amazing. And just underneath, we have this. It should say points by default. If you click the drop-down menu, these are your units of measurements. So I'm going to click on millimeters. That's what we work in most often in the sign world. And then we've now been given the width of the page. So let's just go 600. And the height of the page. I'll just also go 600. This is the orientation of the page, portrait or landscape. And over here, we've got something we can up or down the numbers. So artboards are pages. Pages are artboards, same thing. This is how many pages you want. You can choose here or you can add it later on. There's no big deal if you forget to add it right now. And here is our bleed. So if any of you have installed digital prints, you would have come across bleed. That's the extra 25 mils or 10 mils or whatever you want to go with. Extra bleed outside that you end up trimming off, and it's also the overlap between drops. So you can bump that up and it will add exactly the same to all sides. Same if you forget to add this here, you can add it later. I'll show you how to do that. And you now want to click Create, and it will give you a nice new document. Over here, we've got a whole bunch of tools. When you are first starting with Illustrator, this can be a bit intimidating and a bit overwhelming. So first step we're going to do is, if we come up here to our top left corner, if you click on this guy, you'll be given a bunch more options. We're just going to go with Essentials Classic, which instantly is going to simplify our whole page. So what we've got open now are our Pathfinder and our color guides. Even these, you can close these. We don't need them right now. What you are always going to want open is this, your properties, and this toolbar along here. Anything else is a bonus right now. So we're going to start walking through your toolbar. I'm just going to grab a little shape for now, so we've got something to demonstrate on. But the first tool is called your selection tool. So you would grab this tool to just move things around, resize things. If you hover in the corner, you'll be given a little curvy angle. That's to rotate. Your little curvy arrow, sorry. And you'll also notice that our properties area has changed. So that's what it looks like by default. When you click on something, it changes. So now it tells us our X and Y, which is our positioning on the page. And it tells us our height and width. So you can either resize from here. If you hold Shift on your keyboard, it keeps the proportions locked as well. Otherwise, you've got free reign. Or if you know you want it to be a specific size, you can type in here. So this is your width. So let's go 150. And this is your height. Now let's try 60. This guy here is your angle. So I've got it on 180 because I've bloody flipped it upside down. But if you know you want it to be rotated 90 degrees or 120 or 60, or you want to make it a specific angle, you can type it in here. Also in properties now, we've now been given the option for fill, stroke, and opacity, and some effects. So fill, let's zoom in. Fill is the inside color of a shape or a text. So you can double click and this guy will open. If you click on this guy, you also have like a little spectrum you can use. You can also add new swatches in here if you want to. So for example, we in the science world, we play with the Pantone colors quite a lot. So I'll explain what Pantone is in depth a little bit later, but Pantone is a universal color matching system. So rather than me making artwork and just being like, it's green and I have to send it to Jake over in Japan, I can be like, okay, it is Pantone 375, or it's Pantone 227, or Pantone 353. There's a little calibrated books that I'll show you guys at some point, and everyone is on exactly the same page as to what color things need to come out. So to open that swatch, if you double click on this, you've got your regular basic default colors. You've got your little spectrum, or in the top right, we've got these 3 lines. So 3 lines like this or 3 dots like this always mean more options. So we want to go to more options. We want to open a swatch library, and Pantone is a color book. So we're going to go to a color book and we're going to go to Pantone solid coated. Solid coated colors just give us, I guess, the most solid colors. They're not washed out, they're nice and punchy. And then this guy will open. You can make this as big or as small as you like just by pulling in from the corners or from the bottom. And you can also search up here if you know you want a specific color. 1575, 157. Oh. Okay, next thing is our stroke. So a stroke is this thin little line around our shape or our text. You'll notice when you bump this up, it also starts cutting inside of your shape, which you don't always want because you start losing your orange in the middle. I'll show you a nicer way to do an outline just on the outside. But this is your stroke. Similar, you can double click and change it to whatever color you want. Or this line, if you see this at any point, that means no color. The next one down is opacity. So if something is opaque, it's 100% solid. So you want to turn the solid down and then it'll start turning see-through. And the final one down is effects. So you've got a couple of options for effects. You can go up here to effect, and you've got all of these options that you can go through and have a play with, or you can click effects here, and it will do the same thing. So the other way to do a stroke, you can bump it up like this. You just have to be okay with it cutting onto the inside. Or you can click FX, path, because we're playing with the path, and we're doing an offset path. So offset will be offset from your original shape. It's outside of your original shape. And this box will pop up. So if you hit preview, you'll be able to see a preview of whatever thickness you've put here. So you can type in what you want and then hit tab on your keyboard, which is over on the top left side of your keyboard. You can also change the shape. So currently this is nice and sharp and pointy. You could go round if you wanted to, or you could go bevel, which is sort of in between. And then just hit OK to apply. And now you can expand. So expand, release, and ungroup, which are all in here. Ungroup, expand, and release will pop up in here sometimes as well. They all do the same thing. So if one's not working, use the next one. Expand, and now I've got my shape. Next cursor is your direct selection tool. It is to directly select these points. So these points are called anchors. Anchors, points, or nodes, depending on the software you're in, they're all exactly the same thing. What this tool does, direct selection, you can directly select, you would double click, and now you can grab that point and you can alter that point. It will also generate these little legs when you're playing with a curve, and you can pull those legs to adjust the curve of things. Double click, move, double click, move. It's really good if you've sort of got what you want, but you want to fine tune an area. If you have these little white points on a pointy edge, if you pull it, it'll turn it into a round edge for you. Round corners. Okay, the next one down is your pen tool. This sort of works like a dot to dot function. So dot, 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 dot. If you click and drag, it will give you a curve. And then when you go back to the start, you'll have this little purple text pop up. That's a sign that it wants to close the path. And now you've got a fully custom shape. Again, if you want to go in and fine tune things, you can direct selection. And double click and fine tune. Next tool down is your curvature tool. So very similar to your pen tool, but it's all curves. So if you want to make a little blobby shape, a little abstract shape, you can use this. Again, you can fine tune. Okay, next one down is all of your basic shapes. So any of these that have a little triangle in the bottom right corner means there's more options. To get to the more options, you click and hold, and it will give you more options. Oh. If you know you want it to be a specific size, you can choose the shape and just click in the center of your page and type it in as well, and it will give you a perfect shape. Your next one down is all of your freehand tools. So you've got paintbrush, you've got a blob brush, and you've got a pencil brush. I have never used blob brush, but by all means, go and have a play. So of these, I use pencil tool most often, completely personal preference. So you've got your paintbrush. Again, properties has now slightly changed, and it now shows us our brush type. So we can click this guy. This is your size, and these are your type of brush. So choose what you want. And then if we zoom in, we can see that's sort of like a sketchy brush. Bob brush is a bit chunkier. And pencil tool. And then you can go and fine tune them as well. Okay, next one down Let's delete everything. Next one down is your type tool. So again, we've got more options, but we'll try the first one first. So again, properties have changed, and now all of our fonts pop up here. And if it's got more than one option, you'll also have your regular and bold options here. And this one is your sizing. So you can regular type and bump up the size. You can click and hold and you can go vertical type tool. And you can type down. And the one I have the most fun with is, let's draw a path. And then let's go type on path. So you would draw your path first, grab your type on path tool. And now you can go and type on your path so that you can fit it around your shape, around your circle, around your, I don't know, rectangle, sun, whatever you want to do. Again, all of our fonts are over here. This one, sort of silly, but we'll show you. So this is your rotate tool. I find the quickest way to rotate is if you click on something and you hover in the corner, you'll be given this little curved arrow. Now you can just click and rotate. This is another option to do the same, rotate tool. I just feel like it's a bit more glitchy, but you'll find what works for you. That's an option. There's just a bit you don't want. Grab your eraser tool and you can delete it. Delete. And it will just take out what you've erased. Easy. The other one, if you click and hold on this, is your scissors. So you can click and click where you want to end. Well, and it will cut it out for you. Cut it in half and delete the crap in the middle. Okay, what's the next one? Next one down is your shape builder tool. So if you have two shapes and then draw a path, it's going to join them together. It rarely works. It rarely works, and there is a nice way. So let's change the color of one of these to something obvious. If you click your two shapes, and again, we go to properties, this little area will pop up. This is called Pathfinder. So Pathfinder is all of our shape versus shape options. So the first one is called Unite. And like the little picture says, it's going to unite these two together into one big blob. Perfect. The next one is minus front. So what this one does is the pink is in front of the black. The pink is the front. We're going to minus the front from the back. The next one is intersect. So wherever it overlaps, it's going to create its own shape. The next one is going to do the opposite. Wherever it overlaps, it's going to delete. And again, we've got 3 horizontal lines or 3 dots, which means more options. And now we've got all of these guys. So divide, it will keep this, and it will turn that into its own shape. Ta-da! This one will delete that overlap from the pink. Or from the black, sorry. It will delete the overlap from the black so that they just fit like a nice little jigsaw puzzle, and it deletes any of the overlap. Next one is merge, very similar to unite, but it keeps each of the things their own separate colors instead of this, which makes it all the color that is at the top. In that case, the pink is at the top. This one is crop, so it will just keep that bit. The next one is outline. It will just keep the outlines of the shapes. Weird little tool. And this one is minus back. So the black is at the back. It will minus the back. And it will cut it out of the front. So those tools, when you select two things and go to Pathfinder, these do the same as this tool, Shape Builder, in an easier way. And you get a bit more freedom. The next one is gradient. So a gradient is a blend from one color to another. If you click on it, you'll be given these three options. So you've got linear, inner line, radial, like a radius, and freeform. The way freeform works is wherever you double click, you can put another color. So you can have a million different colors going on in different splodgy places. If this opens and you haven't got your colors, click your three horizontal lines for more options, and you want to go to RGB or CMYK, depending on what you're working in. They both give you a color spectrum. You can also click down here, and you can use your color picker tool if you know you want a specific color. So we've double clicked, we've got pink, we'll double click on that one, we want yellow, and then this guy in the middle, this is your positioning. So if you drag that, it's going to adjust where the colors start fading from one to another. You can also double click if you want to add a third color. And if you decided you don't want that, just click on the rubbish bin. You can change your angle. So if you want pink at the bottom, yellow at the top, or you can flip it. And your radial, like a circle, looks very similar to this. So you can adjust just how much you've got. You can double click and add another one. Whatever you want to do for more options. The next one down is your color picker tool. So if I have a gradient here and I want the exact same gradient in there, but I don't want to go through the hassle of setting all of that up again, you can click where you want it to go, click on your eyedropper and click on it, and it will suck it in. You can grab the background color, you can grab the color of the text or the background or anything else that's floating around. Just click on the item, click on the eyedrop, and then click on the color you want, and it will go into it. Okay, with your width tool, so we've drawn our little tail. Now, if we click on it and we click our width tool, it's going to generate all these points. You can now, if you click and drag them up or down, it's going to change the shape. So we can make a little tail. So we've got it a bit fatter at the start, down into a little flare at the bottom. Very rough, but they're the things you can do using the width tool. Your next tool is your blend tool. So if you want to make this 3D, if you want to make this 3D, you would use your blend tool. So first, let's make this a color that stands out a bit more. You would copy and paste these, make these another obvious color, and place them roughly where you want the 3D to start. So we'll bring these ones to the front, roughly where you want the 3D to start. And what I mean with that is this will be our face, and this is going to end up joining on the corners, and it will make this look like it's 3D. So I want it to be sort of like that. So we have our face, we have our 3D shape, and you select the two. And you would select the two of them, double click the blend tool, and you'll be given a bunch of options here. So you've got smooth color, which will give you a smooth transition to orange to pink. Let's see what that looks like. Let's hit OK and double click to apply. Perfect. You can double click on blend again, and we can try specified steps. So 240. So these steps, I'll show you what they are. Let's type in 8 so it's obvious. These steps are these. So the more steps you've got here, the smoother this is going to look. So if you don't want to do the math, that's fine. You can just choose smooth color. If you know how many you want or need, you're welcome to type them in. Or if you know you want like 8 separate little shapes behind it, cool, you can type that in as well. And that's what that would look like. Double click, and then you can try specified distance. So we'll hit preview once again. If you know you want each of these to be, in this case, 1.4 millimeters thick, you can type that in there. If you know you want them to be 5 millimeters thick, you can type that in there. Again, the bigger or smaller these are, the smoother this is going to be. And then when you're happy, just hit OK. And that's your 3D shape. We can do the same with roast. I want a nice little 3D roast. Also, to change these numbers quickly instead of typing on your keyboard, if you highlight them and just scroll up with your mouse, you can make them bigger or smaller, just a lot faster. Okay, and we want to smooth that out, and I reckon about that is good. Okay, so we got some 3D stuff. Next one down is your artboard. So as I said at the start of this, artboards are your pages. And if you didn't know the size of the page you wanted at the start, or you got that wrong, no biggie. So you click on this guy, and you've got a couple of options. You can grab from the corners and make the page bigger or smaller, your artboard bigger or smaller, or you can retype it in here. If you've changed your mind and you only need it to be 300 by 300, cool. And then you click your cursor to get out of the option. If you're stuck in an option at any point, just always click your cursor at the top. It's going to save your life. You're going to be able to get out of the option and back to your work. And possibly the final one is our zoom tool. So you can hold Alt on your keyboard and scroll with your mouse to zoom in and out quickly. Or you can use this one and zoom in and out. It's going to do the same thing. It's just what you prefer. I tend to use Alt on my keyboard and scroll with the final one. Okay. You'll see these guys at the end of your toolbar. So the solid square is your fill color. The hollow square, if you click on it, it will bring it to the front. Whatever is at the front is the color, is what you're currently working on. So the hollow square is your stroke, which is your thin little line around it. So we've got the pink fill and the black stroke. Underneath here, you've got some shortcuts. So the first one is your last solid color. The middle one is your last gradient used. And the last one means no color. And same with your fill. So this one means your last solid color. The middle one means your last gradient. And the last one means no color whatsoever. So just some little shortcuts. And I think that's it for Illustrator, guys. So it's one of those softwares you're just going to have to play around, give yourself some time to get comfortable with it. And when you're feeling up to it, grab me and we can go through some other funky effects. So if we go up here to effect, these are all of the things you can use. So if you want to add like a little blur around some of your font. So we've got our nice little 3D font, for example, and we want effect. I want to put like a little blur around it. So to do that, you would go effect, stylize, and that's called a drop shadow. Again, always hit preview and that's going to show you what it looks like. You can play with the positioning of it. You can play with just how bold it is by turning the opacity up or down. And you can change the color of it. So we've got pink, maybe let's try an orange little blur. And then when you're happy, just hit OK. So they're things you can play with up in effect. Just have a go through and have a play with them. See what jumps out at you and what you're interested in playing with. But when you get to this point, if you want to hand with anything, just grab me and we can go through things. But otherwise, that is the basics of Illustrator. The thing that you are going to want to do as you get further into the book is we want to create a clipping mask. So let's bring in a picture. In Flexi, it's called import. In Illustrator, it's called place. We want to track down a picture and we want to place it onto our artboard. Let's find our thing. And we want a picture of a ute. You get a bit bigger. So we want to fit some artwork to this ute. We only want it to fit on the white bits. We don't want it fitting out here outside of the car. So the way that we do that is we create a clipping mask. The first step to do this is we'll go to pen up the top. And what we want to do is we just want to dot, 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 dot. Work our way around the car and we just want to click on the edge of the white frame of the body. Right, white frame of the car, sorry. Dun, dun, dun. Dot. Work our way around, getting as close to the edge as you can. And there should be another wheel brace here somewhere. Okay, and that's shape 1. That's shape 1 of our car. We want to send that behind the picture and we want to work on shape 2. In this case, it's going to be this little foot step. And shape 3 will be your windows. So we'll click on shape 1, right click, and we're going to arrange. We're going to send it to back. And then we start again. So pen tool. Now we want to draw around the step. So we'll zoom in. And that's shape 2. Right click, arrange, send to back. Send this to your back. So see how these two are slightly overlapping? I reckon we can choose that one and we can choose that one. And we're going to unite them together because they're overlapping, they're sort of similar. So we'll go to our Pathfinder over here and we'll hit unite. And we'll again click the picture and the bucket we want it to go into. And we can go make clipping mask. Or you can leave this as is and you can just change the color. You can fit all of your artwork on this. Maybe make it something obvious. Okay. Okay, so we've got our artwork sitting over the blue clipping mask. Whatever is sitting outside of here, we don't want. We want to get rid of that. So the first step is, again, just like with the windows, whatever is at the front is going to work as a clipping mask. In this case, we want to bring the blue to the front and we want this to go into that clipping mask. So we'll right click, arrange, bring to front. Looks a bit crazy, but the clipping masks, they turn clear, they turn see-through once you're done with it. So we'll select the clipping mask and the content. Right click and go make clipping mask. And now you've got artwork that fits your card.